Hello, thank you once again for joining me on Ponderosa North for the love of Bonanza and this 6th edition of Bonanza Bits. Kind of my favorite kind of subject to cover because it's just a whole variety of things that I can't do a single show on. It's just a whole bunch of different stuff and on everybody. So a bit of housekeeping. I showed this picture on Lorne Greene's A Canadian episode, and I meant to tell you this is the Parliament buildings in Ottawa. And also I wanted to mention about Lorne that he probably spoke a little bit of French or had some understanding of French, because growing up in Ottawa, it's a very bilingual town. So it's the capital of Canada, it's where all the government buildings are, and everything is bilingual in Ottawa. The other thing I wanted to mention in Adam's character study was the reference to his childhood, his rather tragic childhood of losing 3 mothers and just doing the whole traveling across the U.S. with a single dad. And there's only one time that maybe you guys can correct me on this, but there's only one time that Adam refers to his childhood and those tragic losses, and that's in The Waiting Game, where he's trying to convince Laura to tell Peggy that her father has died. And Adam is encouraging Laura, you know, you got to be strong, and these are things that you need to do. And he says, children do adjust to the problems of life and death. He says, I know, I had to when I was a child. So that was a really interesting reference. And later on in the episode, Ben says to Adam, he remembers when he had to tell Adam that his mother was dead. And so it was just sort of a poignant episode in that way. It's really in the the 5th series that the 5th season that they finally got to that point. So yes, very poignant about Adam and his childhood, and why I think he had this sort of morose edge to his character. He'd been through a lot. Okay, let's move on with Bonanza Bits for today. And I'm going to show you this picture. I love finding pictures that I've never seen before. I hope you've never seen this before either. So take a look at this. I love this picture because it is so relaxed, so casual. I don't know where Dan is, and I don't know who this lovely lady is. Probably somebody, maybe a script girl or somebody in the administrative office. But just look how relaxed they are. I don't know where they are. Lorne is in his suit and Mike is in his suit, which he hardly ever wore. And look how relaxed Purnell is. I've never seen him look so relaxed. Hair or no hair, something he didn't really like to do, I don't think. But I just love that picture. And I have never seen it before. So I hope it's new to you too. A little bit more memorabilia here. As kids, we all had our 6-shooters, pretend 6-shooters. I did have the set of this. I think I sold it. But yeah, as kids, we played Cowboys and Indians a lot. I don't know if kids still do that today. Maybe they do, but it's, video version. Let's talk about Dan. Dan moved to Switzerland. There he is as a Swiss. And I'm sure he loved the food and the beer and everything. And I'll just read you what it says here if I can without my glasses. It says, Dan Blocker above, the Haas Cartwright of TV's Bonanza series, has moved his wife and 4 children to Switzerland and will live there himself whenever he's not working. He calls the lake country of Italy and Switzerland one of the prettiest places he's ever seen. So, and I think he liked it there because in the U.S. and he probably really couldn't get any time to himself. There was no mistaking Dan Blocker. I mean, he couldn't disguise himself very well. He was, and so familiar and big. And so I think it gave him some privacy that he sort of craved. And he just wanted to give his family and his children more of a cultured life and see how other people live, and a more worldly life, and good for him. Man loved hats. That's quite a picture of Dan. I think he had a boat, and he obviously not working at the time and just went for it and relaxed. Yeah, the man loved to wear hats, and so polar opposite of Hoss Cartwright was Dan Blocker. Here is Michael Landon's high school yearbook outline, or whatever they call it, profile. It says Eugene M. Orowitz. I believe his middle name is Maurice or Morris. Nickname Oogie and Emo. Like goofing off and listening to Lindy's Adventures in Wonderland. Go to Istanbul with Lindy. Art. Al and my rod. I don't know what that means. Track, football. Football, I don't know. But he was class vice president. Good for him. And in varsity club. And not to be outdone, his sister, Evelyn, was a beauty queen. Quite a beautiful woman was Evelyn. Here she is. And she did some film work too. I believe this is just a sort of says Miss New Jersey, Evelyn Orowitz, ribbon bearer of Miss Universe contest. Wow, that's something. She's just at an airport here. She's leaving for Los Angeles, and she says the boiling heat brought out the best in her. Okay. And not to be outdone is Michael's daughter, Jen. And for those of you who don't know, she plays Teeter in Yellowstone at the moment. She has quite a resume behind her, doing soaps and stuff. And of course, Mike Jr. too went into production. He did some acting, and I believe son Christopher as well. Let's move on to Lorne Greene's Little Ponderosa in Tucson, Arizona, of which there is a tour happening in March at the TV Western Con. And I will put a link to it below in case you're interested. Looks like a great tour. You don't get to go there very often. It's in Tucson, like I mentioned, in March. Here he is inside with wife Nancy, chilling. So yeah, the inside was very, very close to the Ponderosa. I mean, as modern as it could live in. I mean, he had to have a proper kitchen and so on, but he had that fireplace and the chair. You know, it was very, very similar to the Ponderosa there in Tucson. And he actually lived there. Created Ben's desk and office right there. He actually lived there. I remember seeing a interview with Lorne, and he said, yeah, we lived there for quite some time until people started peeking into the bathroom with my bathrobe on. So we had to move. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but that's what happens when people find out where famous people live. They're curious. I'm going to finish today's Bonanza Bits with Michael Landon. And Michael Landon in the 70s. And what a cool dude he was. Look at these pictures of Michael Landon. Holy crap. What a great looking guy and so cool. Look at the love beads. Always dressed casually. Here he is doing his Superman impression. But wow. Quite something was Michael Landon. Very happy with his success, and so he should have been. A lovely house in Malibu, but look at, he was so cool. Look at with the Ankh cross and everything. Love Michael Landon. I wish he was still here. That's it for Bonanza Bits and Ponderosa North for today. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.